You are listening to Peak One Sports.
Welcome to the Bungalow Fight Show. We're back. We had a week off. And you know what? I'm glad we had a week off because the less we talk about the Fury versus Ngannou, the better. Because we, you know, we could have done a lot of talking about it before the fight, which would have been pointless because then whatever that thing was that happened, that event that happened on Saturday was, I mean, we'll have enough to say about it today. But we're back again. We got UFC this week. We'll talk a little bit about our thoughts on the Fury and Ngannou, some other things. But today's show, as always, brought to you by Betalytics. Go to Betalytics.com and make a profile. Use promo code PEAK1. Get 25% off to get all the info you need to make educated bets. Now, if you're betting on the UFC, all you need to do is tune into this show because we're 67%, baby. I was tooting our horn at 63. We're at 67% and going up 53 and 26 in picks and starting this damn show. This is you know, we're reaching epic. We're reaching elite territory here in percentage picks in a very short period of time. But Betalytics doesn't do MMA, so listen to us for MMA and for everything else. Go to Betalytics, use promo code PEAK1, get 25% off. Don't bet with your gut, bet with Betalytics. LeagueSwipe.com for all you fantasy commissioners out there who need some help getting your league organized. Go to LeagueSwipe, see if their tools can help you out, make your life a lot easier, and tell them PEAK1 sent you. We're blowing through these today. Go to bonfire.com/store/Peak1Sports for all of the Peak One Sports Network merch. Baseball's going. The World Series is on. Get your Mr. and Mr. October shirt, your official playoff expert shirt, or get a Bungalow Fight Show shirt, and you can be cool like me because I have one. I'm not wearing it right now, but I wore it last time, I think. I don't know. Anyways, go there and get stuff. Brand new sponsor, Shank It Golf. Go to shankitgolf.com and use promo code PEAK1 for 15% off your order on some of the coolest golf gear and accessories out there. It's not your run-of-the-mill, bland, traditional golf style, boring shit. This is right up our alley. Their main page is their golf glove, which is a middle finger that says "you suck" on it, you know, and they've got polos with cut-off sleeves. They've got pullovers, they've got hats, they've got all kinds of shit that if you enjoy this show and you also enjoy golf, it's probably going to be up your alley. Plenty of people that already follow the Bungalow Sports Show on social media, I noticed, already followed Shank It Golf before I even followed them after they became a sponsor. So that means it's good shit. That means people are already buying it out there without us telling you to. And if you use promo code PEAK1, you get 15% off some solid gear. Thanks, Shank It Golf, for jumping on board.
Yeah.
All right, dude.
Shank It Golf needs. Hold on. Shank It Golf needs a golf shirt with the Tiger Woods mugshot.
They do have some Tiger branded stuff where they have like some. Yeah, go check them out. They got cool shit. Speaking of sponsorships, the UFC's got a brand new old sponsorship. Bud Light is back in the octagon. There you go. He came prepared. Alexis came prepared. He can wave his Bud Light flag again. As we all know, the world was set on fire when Bud Light made a special can. That wasn't even released. They just made a can for a transgender TikTok influencer, and that person showed it online, and then the world lost their goddamn minds, and all of a sudden half America hated Bud Light all of a sudden. And you know, the UFC being the tough machismo type of business they are, dropped them. But of course they come crawling back because if it's Bud Light, Jesus Christ, like what are we doing?
Everybody was bagging on Bud Light before. Like I don't see anything wrong with it. I mean, can we just get over it?
Get over it, but also too is like when it all was going down, I thought it was like a sponsored like a run of cans they were doing. It wasn't. It was just like one special thing they did for that one person.
No, yeah.
And I was just like, so what are we even talking about here? Like, you know what I mean? It's like when your picture gets picked for the Jones soda bottle. Like,
yeah.
like what the fuck, dude? Like, I thought it was like a campaign they were running with Dylan Mulvaney, but it wasn't. It was like a one-off thing. They were trying to, obviously it's a marketing thing by Bud Light trying to reach a certain demographic, but most of the consumers of Bud Light don't want that demographic drinking their beer, so it caused a rift. But now everybody's back because it's Bud Light, and if you're a light beer drinker, like Bud Light's the go-to, right? You know what I mean? Like nobody's given up their favorite light beer. They'll just have to drink it in secret, but not anymore because the UFC has them back.
Yeah, I can bring out my towel again. I'm super happy about it.
Yeah, that's like might as well be the transgender pride flag you're waving there, dude. So
yeah.
But anyways, so that was some news last week for the UFC. UFC's just like, how many beverages are they going to be sponsored by? They got Prime, they got Bud Light, they've got Body Armor. Like, it's like the octagon.
With the proper 12.
Proper 12. It's going to be an octagon full of beverages sooner rather than later. And all of them are no good for you. All of them are bad for athletes.
it needs to go back to Bud Light and Science.
Right. The old days.
Yeah.
No, it's just funny because, like, obviously Prime's like their main beverage sponsor now, and like Austin Matthews, who's like the best NHL player, plays for the Toronto Maple Leafs, is now like their first hockey player sponsored athlete, Prime. And it's just funny because my Daniel, co-host of the Bungalow Hockey Show, check it out on Tuesdays on the Peak One Sports Network. He just texted me that Austin Matthews signed with Prime, and I was just like, yeah, that's cool. I mean, it just sucks because it's like Prime's literally, if you look into it, they're banned in like most modern countries except for the US and Canada because of suspect ingredients. Like, and it's terrible for athletes, and it's like terrible for your gut and things like, just whatever. But who cares, right? It's not like, sports are. It's not like anybody who's watching sports is actually trying to play it, right? Just, I would not recommend you giving your kid a bottle of Prime to go out for a soccer game. But
oh yeah, for sure.
Anyways, if Prime wants to, if Logan Paul and KSI want to cut a check to the Bungalow Fight Show, I will not be turning it down. Let's talk a little bit. I know it's a little old news now because we didn't get to go over it. We missed last week. Is UFC 294. The kind of biggest story coming out of there is Hamzat looking real pedestrian and looking real beatable against Kamaru Usman. News has come out that he had, he kind of tore a ligament in his fingers and his hand in the first round or whatever. And we talked about it beforehand. Usman's Usman. He's not a pushover. You know what I mean? But definitely, if that was 100% Hamzat, then Usman is a middleweight contender. And if that was, not 100% Hamzat, then I don't know. I don't know what to think of that fight now because Robert Whittaker might be fighting Usman now, which I think might be a more interesting fight than this one was. If that fight went 5 rounds, Usman probably wins that fight against Hamzat, though. He was looking real tired at the end. It was not. It was not.
It was not a 5-round fight.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Training for 5-round fights. So I hate that argument.
I know. I agree with you. I just had to put it out there because that's what everybody on the Usman side of things always has to say, that of like, if it was 5 rounds, it wasn't.
It wasn't. It wasn't even thought of as a 5-round fight.
Never. Ever.
I just gotta say, like, Usman spiked his own head to get out of a choke.
Right.
In that first round.
Yeah.
Dude, like, literally, I'm just, fuck it. I'm just gonna throw my face on the fucking canvas.
And it worked.
Tap out. It worked, yeah. That first round was pretty gnarly. But here's the thing. I don't know where Usman's wrestling is at. Like,
right.
It kind of looked meh too.
Right.
As well. Because he chose more to strike.
Right.
So,
And like you said, like kind of what we alluded to before the fight is that it was going to be mostly a defensive wrestling fight for Usman. Yeah. But as that fight went on, he may have been even more competitive if he went and wrestled him or tired Khamzat like in the later rounds. If Usman would have went for a takedown or something, you know what I mean, went for a clinch rather than trying to strike with him towards the end. That would have been a lot closer decision, I'd imagine, but it wasn't. And Khamzat won, and most likely he's going to get the title shot against Strickland. I don't think he should get it. I think Dricus should get it, and Khamzat has to fight somebody else.
But I think, well, actually being a week off, I haven't heard any talk about it. I think like it just kind of like washed off, because I think that was an incentive for Usman.
The title fight?
Like if Usman beats Khamzat, then he fights the title.
Right.
I think it was like a shoe on for, I don't know.
I don't know. It really, I think, honestly, just depends on how much vitriol Dana's holding towards Dricus du Plessis right now for not taking the short notice fight. You know what I mean? Yeah. Or, he was supposed to take that short notice against Izzy, and he said, no, I want a full camp, and then Strickland got it, blah, blah, blah. And obviously, we all know Uncle Dana's track record for people who don't do what he wants them to do. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like, no, just go lose this fight and we'll make it up to you. It's like, no, fuck that. Like, I got a chance to win this fight, but he don't care about that. Yeah. Strickland did it. Now he's the champ. And now there's a whole line of guys that are wanting to fight for that title because Strickland has it. And, I don't know.
Say, like, Khamzat hasn't fought an actual fucking fighter in the division. It's all been like, what is it?
It's either been at welterweight or obviously Usman a welterweight at middleweight. Gerald Meerschaert at middleweight. Yeah. You know who's the only actual
Gerald
middleweight.
Meerschaert was the actual legit fight where he weighed in and actually weighed
at 185. Yeah,
and So Gerald Meerschaert was the true in weight class
fight that he's had at middleweight. Yeah, so I don't. He definitely hasn't earned it, but we know that doesn't really matter in the UFC these days. It's all about eyeballs. So
we haven't even seen him in a 5-round fight. So what do you think? It's going to be a tough first round for Sean Strickland if they give it to him. But if Sean Strickland's like, I just need to last one round.
Well, that's what I mean. I'm thinking if this fight shows anything, it should show Khamzat that he needs to not get shot out of a cannon in the first round and just go out there and try to finish it immediately, because he did that against Usman and it wasn't good. It didn't look. He didn't look good in the third round. You know what I mean? So it's like in a 5-round fight, hopefully Khamzat can say okay, maybe I need to pace myself a little bit. And I can have more finishing chances later on, because you're not going to get everybody out of there in the first round. It's just not going to happen, especially at middleweight. At welterweight, because he has so much size and strength on people, then maybe that's more of a reality as you get higher up in the ranks. But if he's at middleweight and that's his weight now, these guys are bigger than you, or same size, same strength, and everything like that, and Usman being the smaller guy didn't really look that much smaller than Khamzat. You know what I mean? So it's like,
no,
he needs to pace himself. I hope he learned that from this. I don't think he didn't lose any points because this was his first real test. If you go back and look at his record, everybody obviously he's the boogeyman because he's looked so scary. But like you said, it's been all welterweights, one middleweight, and nobody that's really highly ranked. So. It's just this was his first test and he passed it with a broken hand, whatever the fuck's wrong with him, short notice, all this stuff, former champion. So it was a tough test and he passed it, no matter what you want to say about his performance. But I don't think it warrants a middleweight title shot, not at all.
No, he needs to at least do a 5-round fight beforehand.
I think so. Yeah, give him
that, please.
Let's do a fight night main event. You know what I mean? Exactly. And you get tons of eyeballs do it on ESPN, the network. You know what I mean? Do it on a network fight night that'll get a lot of eyeballs, so that'll warrant having a big name like him involved. and have it be a 5-round main event against an actual middleweight. You know what I'm saying? Like, against a Robert Whitaker or against, you know what I mean? A Jared Cannonier or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Give him Marvin Vettori.
Marvin Vettori. He'll eat Vettori's lunch, but at least it's name versus name, ranked middleweight, guy who's been at middleweight. You know what I mean? And he'll definitely win that fight. And yeah, I don't know. I think that's where I'm at. I agree with you there. I think he needs a 5-round real middleweight fight before, and he needs to pass that test before we grant him a title shot. All right, let's get into it real quick before we talk about some other fights. You and I both tuned in. We didn't pay for it. I keep wanting to make everybody know, did not pay for this piece of shit, and I will not pay for anything that comes out of Saudi Arabia. Not for any political views, but just for the reason of fuck that guy. And he don't need any money. Obviously, if you watch this fucking shit show of a spectacle, Mohammed Bonesaw Man doesn't need our pay-per-view money. So, and that is said by the 2 hours of bullshit that we had to sit through hoping to see a boxing match at some point. I went on a pretty crazy rant. I posted this morning a clip on from the Bungalow Sports Show. It was literally disgusting, and you and I were texting like puke emojis back and forth while watching it. I was like super tired because Andy was sick all night, so I was kind of just delirious and feeling shitty, and like, so I was already in a shit mood, and I'm just like, what the? I was just pacing around the house, like, what the fuck? Like, what are we waiting for? Like, what is going on? Like, is there gonna be a fight? And it was just so much buildup and so much pomp and circumstance, and just like I said in my rant, just a disgusting display of just wealth and like, look what we can do, when all anybody really wanted was to see these two guys fight. You know what I mean? And the same people you had in the stand, like, they kept harping on the celebrities. Look at all the celebrities. It's like, if this was in Vegas at the MGM, all those celebrities would have still been there. Like, it wasn't because it was Riyadh season. It wasn't because Lil Baby was there. It wasn't because it was in Saudi Arabia. It was because these guys were fighting, you know? And us just having to wait that long, and they built an arena just for this fight. The rest of the card was outside at a different location, and they built a special theater in the round thing where I don't know,
it was stupid, dude.
It was so dumb, and it was just like a giant waste of money. And another thing I said in my rant was like, if Saudi Arabia and Mohammed bin Salman are trying to buy goodwill around the world by buying up sports leagues and buying up our favorite athletes and trying to spread their money that way to buy goodwill, it's like, take all the money that you didn't pay the fighters and put it to some fucking charity or something. Like, that would have bought you more goodwill than this puke fest. And like, and if you noticed, like, other than like, there was like, I don't know, 6 songs that were performed before this, like, basically an entire set of a concert. And
what the fuck was up with that?
And
dude?
like 4 of those songs you could tell were specifically written for this, because some of the words were Riyadh season, and some of the words were like literally about this fight. So it's like they wrote songs for this. Like, it was so dumb. It was maddening, dude. And like I said, I was in a shitty mindset at the time, so obviously like I wasn't liking it, but it was just. And then the fight happened, and the fight was way more competitive than we thought, whether that's because Tyson Fury didn't take it seriously or what your opinion of it is. So that fight would have been way better served to be in Las Vegas, to be in a normal boxing setting, a normal combat setting, and it would have been way better because it was a better fight than we thought it was going to be. Like, I mean, Ngannou didn't win. Some people saying that he won. No. He definitely didn't win, but it was way more competitive than we thought it was going to be, probably because Tyson Fury didn't take it seriously. You know what I mean? Like,
like, it's. I just first like wanted to say, like, I didn't ask to see this fight,
right?
Like, we were on record on this show saying that we
exactly
see this fight.
We're degenerates. We're gonna watch it, but we did not ask for it by any means.
Dude, oh God, I don't know where to start from first. Okay, so fuck, dude, because like there is a fix with this bullshit, because we had some decent fights in the beginning. There was just something just a little off, like a knockdown would happen, and then the next shot that connected, the referee waved off the fight.
Right.
And I was like, maybe like you wave it off after the second knockdown, you know?
Right.
So that was in play already, because I was like, all right, so like
there's
if Francis
some
does knock down
silliness going on.
The next good connection, the ref's gonna stop it.
Right. If he connected again in that same round, it might have been over. You know, it was just like I said, Francis looked like he took it real serious and was really trying to be a boxer. You know what I mean? Yeah, after he landed that big punch and knocked him down, like he was definitely just looking for another big shot for a while, but I will give credit where credit's due. I want to see him not against Anthony Joshua, not against, Deontay Wilder, but give him another touted heavyweight and let's see how he does. But it's not going to happen, right? We're just going to see another.
You know what? He should fight this boxer who is also 1-1 right now. That is boxing. He should fight Mark Hunt.
Oh shit!
Before he fights some with Deontay Wilder or Anthony Joshua, because he was handed a gift. Being able to go to the distance with Fury gave him another shot. So, and honestly, he's not going to have another one. Let's say he loses to Deontay Wilder to decision. There goes all that. No one's going to want to see anything else.
But as long as it's Riyadh season, Alexis, they're going to keep paying him to, like, I'm just like, the fuck.
That's why it went to freaking decision. Because every fight that he's going to have is going to be in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, 100%. And, like, you and I were texting after that knockdown.
Yeah.
I didn't tell you this. I was waiting for the show to tell you this. But after that knockdown and then seeing how, like, the next round went, I placed an Ngannou decision bet.
Oh, you did?
I did, and
I should have sent you when I placed the knockdown one.
You sent it to me. You sent it to me. The anytime knockdown after it happened, but I didn't want to jinx it because like I just like we were saying, like I smelt a rat, dude. Like I smelt a rat, and I was like, oh shit, this is gonna be closer than we thought. Yeah. Because a few things were in play. Obviously, the atmosphere was leaning towards Ngannou. Tyson Fury gets knocked down, and then Tyson Fury obviously didn't take this seriously because he wasn't Tyson Fury's technical self that he normally is. You know what I mean? Like, he came out flat and flaccid, did not look like he was fighting Deontay Wilder. He didn't look like he was fighting somebody that might beat him. You know what I mean? So, like, I smelt a rat, dude, and it almost cashed in, dude. It almost cashed in. I was just at the end there. It's like, obviously, I didn't think Ngannou won. But I was like, oh, that was close enough for these judges to give it to Francis. And I was like, oh, fuck. You know what I mean? And then but my favorite part of this whole thing was just when they would flash to Usyk and just his eyes just watching this thing. It was like a tiger and you're holding just a strip of bacon outside of his cage. He was just like
literally just holding it.
He's like, this, like, if that's the Tyson that I get to fight in a few months, I'm going to be the lineal and unified champion. You know what I mean? If I get to fight Francis in Saudi Arabia, I'm going to eat his lunch.
Like, that's what they wanted, though. This is the whole thing. They want to be able to use Francis a little more. PFL's biggest investor is Saudi Arabia.
Right.
That's the reason why they got Francis and they were able to pay him the money because they gave him the money.
Oh, yeah.
So if you look at the money, you get your tinfoil hats on, right? Tyson Fury's exclusively signed deals and to have fights in Riyadh season.
The funny part about it is you don't really have to get a tinfoil hat. You just follow the checkbook, dude. Like,
follow the checkbook, right?
Yeah, that's it.
So they set the precedent for the next fight. They're like, everyone's gonna come in, gonna tune in. They want to see Fury lose to Usyk. Usyk has not fought anybody. Let's be honest. He hasn't fought anybody.
Well, that's the thing about the heavyweight division in boxing. There's like three guys. Joshua, right? There's four guys. There's Anthony Joshua. There's Deontay Wilder. There's Fury, and then every once in a while, what's his face, the Mexican guy, Andy Ruiz. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, depending on what body type he decides to show up in, like, and it's just like it's really that's it. There's nobody else.
He was like he was a middleweight before that.
Right.
Like
So,
he's still smaller than Fury. I bet you anything this was to get everybody like, oh shit. Like even what you said, because when you texted me, you're like, Usyk destroys this Fury. Like the light bulb went in my head. I was like, bing, and I got super mad. I was like, I got fucking had by this fucking production. I was like, you serious? Because like honestly, dude, tell me, how is there any chance where you have a fighter that in UFC throws windmills that generate power like the windmills on the Altamont Pass
right.
to get a knockout, becomes a solidified boxer that can go the distance with one of the best heavyweights of all time?
All you got to say about that is anything can happen in when it's Riyadh season.
Right? Because if you look right, so Riyadh, the Riyadh money line was going to both sides, so they want, they're funding both sides.
Exactly. They have storylines that play out no matter who wins that fight, and the closer of a decision it is, i.e. split decision or Tyson Fury, half the world saying Ngannou got robbed. Like that's kind of what they wanted, because now they've got Francis fights they can put on and nobody's pissed because he looked so good, and then now you have Fury fights you can put on because well, what's gonna happen if him and Usyk fight? And guess where they're fighting? Saudi fucking Arabia. Like
in that same fucking venue.
And that's why if everybody, because we talked about them, setting up that Usyk fight before this fight happened. It's like the reason they did that but they didn't announce where it's happening or when, right? Because it's happening in Riyadh. It's happening in that place. They just needed to wait to see what of their scenarios they get to play out after Francis and Tyson fought, and now they did, and we saw what happened. And now Usyk beats Fury, and then Francis gets to fight Usyk, or you know what I mean? Fury beats Usyk, and then we get a rematch with Francis. Like we've got the next year and a half worth of Saudi Arabian boxing already. The card's been filled out, people.
Yeah,
they just need to plug in the names. You know what I mean? The card's been filled out. The calendar's been set. They've got all they're like it's that fucking meme of Charlie Day from Always Sunny where he's fucking got the board and he's smoking cigarettes, and it's like it's all there already. They just got to put the names where the names go after whatever happens, So let's not talk about this anymore until we get the next stupid one.
I just wanted to say, like, everybody should be ashamed of themselves if they're saying that Francis Ngannou won that fight, because the only rounds that I know that he won was 3 and then 8.
Right. No, and he just
right,
and the people are like, he kept it so competitive, and it's like, it's boxing. Unless somebody's getting their head knocked off, it just looks like a stalemate half the time. So it's just like, what are we talking about? Like, and then we also mentioned in our text thread during the fight, it's like every boxing match I've ever seen. Obviously, you don't get to see the judges' scorecards, but they got the third analyst judge that shows you his readouts of who won what. They didn't do that, and there's a reason for that, because they don't want to have anybody who's watching it mind and be swayed by whatever this analyst thinks. No, they want it to be open to interpretation, so no matter what the judge's decision is, no one can really argue that hard about the other side. You know what I mean? You're always, no matter what happens, you're going to have people arguing for Francis, and you're going to have people arguing for Fury. So they just want to keep that alive. So they're not going to have the round readouts of, Tyson won that one because he knocked him, Fury won that, or Ngannou won that one because he knocked down Fury. But if you're a boxing guy, obviously Fury won the rest of these fucking rounds just by punch numbers. You know what I mean? But anyways,
dude,
what a shit show.
If you guys listen to Teddy Atlas's breakdown, he gave the fight to Fury. Teddy Atlas is pretty honest.
Always, he's honest about MMA and MMA guys versus boxers, or MMA guy versus and MMA striking, and he's honest about boxing. And you can't sway him. His opinion, he's going to give it to you no matter what. The guy gives a lot of unpopular opinions to boxing people all the time, and a lot of them hate that, and that means he's an honest guy. If you've got guys in your own field that don't like you, it's because probably you're telling the truth, and all things being equal, boxing being boxing, Tyson Fury won that fucking fight handily, except for that knockdown. And that knockdown was strictly based off of Tyson Fury not taking that fight. Like, that knockdown was never going to happen in the 7th round. right?
No.
It had to happen early because it had to happen at a time where Fury was still going, oh shit, Ngannou actually learned how to throw a jab, or, and you know what I mean? Like, still trying to figure out whether Ngannou had something or not. You know what I mean? And that's exactly what happened. He got caught, and then.
I mean, and to say like Francis' power wasn't really on display. Like, if you compare the knockdown to Deontay Wilder's knockdown,
right? No,
Deontay
exactly.
Wilder's knockdown was
it was legit. It was as legit as it gets, dude.
He did put him down, but like, Ngannou's power is not there. So you know what? Everybody has a blueprint. Line them up. Francis, you need to fight someone who's 1-1, i.e., Mark Hunt. Get that damn win, because you're only going to get another shot. Once you lose again to a high level guy, that's it. That's done.
Yeah.
So, I don't want to talk about this. Everyone's stupid for saying that Francis Ngannou won. You guys make me sick. Like, I don't know boxing, but I know Francis Ngannou lost that fight. So, like, you know, we're not. Yeah, let's get over this. I just hate my feed being Francis won that fight.
I know, it's crazy. I didn't
hate it, dude.
I didn't obviously, like I said, you knew people were gonna be taking that storyline and saying and run with it, but I didn't think it was gonna be as many people and as many legitimate people saying that he won that fight. And it's just like, he didn't win the fight. He made it. It was more competitive than we thought it was gonna be, but he didn't win that fight.
Or you know what? Fuck it. Francis, take Deontay Wilder. I want Deontay Wilder to knock out Francis.
Right.
There. And if he goes to a decision loss again, that's the last of it. It doesn't matter. If he loses again, he has to have another win.
Yeah. All right. UFC Fight Night, Sao Paulo, coming up this weekend. It's our first UFC in a week. Pretty good main event. Derek Lewis, Gelton Almeida. Gelton Almeida is the big prospect coming up. Derek Lewis just getting slimmer by the day. I mean, it's a pretty decent card, honestly, to go around. At least a fun one to bet on, I think. Yeah.
There's a bunch of fun things on here.
Let's see. Kicking off on the prelims, Mark DeCasey. Man, he's still hanging on to his UFC spot. Kue Fernandez, he's got the silhouette. You know anything about Fernandez? I mean, obviously DeCasey's got a long track record.
Yeah, this guy, honestly, no, it's like he's been brought in, like, he's not even a contender series guy, so it's just like just the local guys that got brought in. They say he's good. I'm just going off of what other people are saying.
Right, and DeCasey's a little long in the tooth, so this one's kind of a toss-up. Probably don't bet on that one.
Over 2.5 rounds. DeCasey should win, right, by decision. It shouldn't be impressive.
Right.
The wrestling's there, but...
After that, women's strawweight, formerly Montserrat Conejo, now Montserrat Ruiz, with the sweet neck tattoos.
Yeah, dude, that neck tattoo's super sweet.
Versus, man, she's a 410 underdog to Eduarda Mora at a minus 550 favorite, and she's got the silhouette, and she's a minus 550 favorite.
Yeah.
Dude, what do you know about Mora?
Her last win was on Contender Series, and she is a 5-1 favorite
against a vet. So, like, that's pretty. I mean, that should tell you something, I guess. Is this something you'd bet on? I mean, I know our track record.
No.
Nope. No, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't get fooled by the odds, my friends. And another one you're not going to want to bet on is a toss-up between Angie Overkill Hill and Denise Gomez.
Actually, I'd take Angela Hill.
Well, she is a dog.
But she's a dog. She has a better competition.
Right.
But she would be like, that's the bonus, like, case.
That's like if you're really hurting 2 fights into this card, maybe put something on Angie Overkill Hill. But on here, we didn't get to 67% betting. Not a lot of WMMA victories are in that 67%. So take our guesses on the women's fights with a grain of salt, because those are our.
Yeah.
I would hate. We should start just doing a percentage on what our picks on the women are. It's probably close to 0%. But after that, light heavyweight bout: Modestas Bukauskas, Lithuanian bad boy, versus Victor Petrino. Petrino's coming in at a minus 218. Bukauskas obviously has had quite a few UFC fights at this point. Was kind of highly touted at the beginning, but he's been kind of a roller coaster for him.
Yeah. Let's see if I check. I was just checking up my picks right now. I do not have him, so Petrino should be a good thing. I'm not even sure like how his odds are. Do they have his odds on the UFC?
Yeah, minus 218 for Petrino, plus 180 for Bukauskas.
I mean, that sounds right. I mean, he's like in his hometown,
right? And like I said, Bukauskas has had mixed results. You know, my strong Lithuanian heritage wants me to bet on him, but I won't be doing that. After that one, we've got a bantamweight bout. Daniel Marcos, very few Peruvian fighters in the UFC, and he's one of them, versus Victor Hugo, whose UFC picture here makes him look like a corpse. He's got like gray skin. And he's also a plus 200 dog to a minus 245 favorite in Marcos. But obviously I'm more familiar with Marcos than Victor Hugo, so I'm leaning that way. You got any thoughts on this one?
These are both contender series guys. The Peruvian out of Daniel Marcos, but Victor Hugo has a lot of stoppages.
Right.
Granted, they're not in UFC, so we don't know how well that is. But his last win was a stoppage in the contender series, where Daniel Marcos, his last couple fights were decisions. So
right, yeah. So Hugo's probably a decent
Hugo.
dog. Yeah, decent dog to put some money on there.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go Hugo, man. They're in Brazil.
Yeah.
We're going with the favela money.
We're going with that gray skin bad boy. Next up, welterweight bout: Rinat Fakhretdinov.
Yeah.
Versus these are a couple of bad name bad boys. Elizu Zaleski dos Santos. Jesus. Rinat is a minus 355 favorite. I believe you've got him within the distance.
Yeah.
In your picks here.
Yes, I do.
Which is probably, I mean, obviously a heavy favorite, obviously a Russian. So, you know, he's 21-1, coming off a win. He's, you know, it's just all signs pointing to Russia on that one.
Yeah. He murdered Kevin Lee on TV.
Right. There you go. That's right. I forgot that was this guy. Yeah, I think you got it right there. I think Fakhretdinov. He's going to be in the picks.
Would it be like, let's see how John Anik would be like, Rinat Fakhretdinov.
Fakhretdinov, yeah. And we'll see. We'll see how Anik pronounces it. Catchweight bout in the featured prelim. We've got Elvis Brenner versus Kainan Kruczewski. A lot of these Russian names coming out of Brazil. What is going on there? We had a Zaleski. Now we got a Kruczewski. Elvis Brenner minus 155 fave. What do you? I don't think you got either of these guys in your picks.
No, I don't.
This is a pretty close because it's a 155 favorite to a 130 dog. Both Brazilian, so both are technically at home.
Normally that would like really intrigue me, but like I think I remember when I was looking at their past fights, I was like, like
right.
It's still like it's something where we're gonna watch and see how this is going, because this is one of those things where he's like, these two might face each other later on. It might be too early right now that they are facing each other.
Right.
Like in their trajectory. So like, Let's just watch it.
And it's a catch weight, so it's got to be short notice. So it's kind of a toss up there. Moving on to the main card, we've got Ishmael Bonfim versus From Hell Vince Pichel. Although Pichel does rock possibly the best mustache in the UFC, I believe Alexis is right in picking him to be KO'd by Ishmael Bonfim, who is
Pichel, you're going to hell.
Yeah, dude. Going back, according to his grandma. I remember him from Ultimate Fighter. He said his grandma gave him the nickname From Hell, which is oh my God, what a grandma. But he's probably going back there because Bonfim's a minus 520, and Alexis has him for a KO, and I think you're right about that because Vince Pichel has never really blown anybody's hair back, and it seems like this is might be a homer KO on TV, feeding Bonfim somebody that he can bust up, because Vince Pichel is also not going to back down from a slugfest, and he usually comes out on the wrong end of those.
Oh yeah. It's like, oh, we're gonna punch. Let's punch.
Right.
Let's do it.
Exactly. All right, next bout, Rodolfo Vieira versus Armen Petrosyan. Middleweight bout, Petrosyan minus 112 favorite. Well, no, they're both minus 108, minus 112. Yeah, pick 'em fight. I believe you got Petrosyan, Armenian bad boy. What are your thoughts on this?
I just think like his wrestling, just like altogether, his wrestling and his striking and his defense is going to help him win the fight.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Petrosyan.
I'm not sure with Rodolfo.
Petrosyan's been a little more impressive in his victories than Vieira has, from my memory. But don't take that for what it is.
So Rodolfo's going to want to look to go to the ground, and I think that's where
Petrosyan
his striking. Petrosyan doesn't want it on the ground, but he's no slouch there.
Right.
But in order to get them, I don't know. I don't see Rodolfo having good like takedowns.
Right. Right.
Or being able to get him on the ground.
Yeah, I see him maybe
Petrosyan
trying to take it to the ground, and if it does go there, he kind of gets himself in a bad position because Petrosyan can scramble and might kind of I think Vieira might try to wrestle, might try to grapple, and it might backfire on him, is what I'm trying to say there. Another middleweight bout, Kyle Barallo versus Abus Magomedov, Russian from Germany. Barallo's a minus 290 favorite in this one. Obviously, he's more of a he's 14-1. He's coming off a win. It's at home in Brazil. He is a guy that kind of, he looks like a Brazilian model, so the UFC probably wants him to win. This seems just like a fight set up for Barallo to win this one.
Yeah, I agree that this first of all, it's short notice. Like whoever he was fighting, was it Nursultan?
Right.
Rosbayev.
But I mean, Magomedov, like that's a hungry dog right there. If you're looking to bet on this,
yeah, for Magomedov to step in after losing to Sean Strickland, I think he thinks he has the ability to, stop Bohio.
Yeah,
Bohio's won me some money, actually many times.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's kind of, honestly, that's kind of why I think I may lean towards him. But Magomedov is one of these guys where it's like, oh shit, that he could spoil the party.
Yeah, here's where I think like we do every time, even though we have our picks, we do go off the rails.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be. There is not a reality where I'm not putting Kyle Bohio in a parlay just in case.
Right. In our official Bungalow Fight Show parlay, Magomedov is probably going to be in there. But like you said, there's not a world where I don't have a little hedge parlay with Bohio in there. Just even all things being equal, just the hometown rub, short notice rub. But Magomedov's been in there with maybe arguably tougher guys, obviously coming off a Sean Strickland loss. So, which isn't a loss to be that upset about because he's the fucking champion now, obviously. So that one's going to be a tough one. That one's going to be a nail biter, but I'll probably have each one of them in a parlay, so I won't be biting my nails that much.
But wrestling versus jiu-jitsu, like
right. That's the
Sambo,
that's the thing is if this is going to be a grappling fight, you got to go Magomedov, you know.
Yeah. The OV, man.
Right. All right, moving on to our first heavyweight bout of the night. Dontel Mays. I love the way his name is spelt because it's like don't tell Mays.
Don't tell Mays.
Don't tell Mays
he's here.
Versus Rodrigo Nascimento. This is real close in the odds, minus 185, plus 154 for Mays. Both coming off wins. Both have 10 victories to their name. They are, I mean, Dontel Mays is 6'6", so he's definitely got the size on him. And definitely probably has the tougher resume up to this point, maybe. But I don't know. What do you think about this one?
Dude, Nascimento should win.
Yeah.
Tougher. The only thing tough about Dontel Mays' last opponent was that he won to Andre Arlovsky, and
which is always you can't really judge it because it's like what Arlovsky are we getting, and he's so old. It's like if you beat him, does it matter? And if he beats you, you suck.
You can beat Arlovsky, but then the judges beat you,
right? So
I mean.
Yeah, it's hard. And like you said, all things being equal on the night, Nascimento should take care of him. And
I have Nascimento.
Don't bet on a finish. Just bet on the straight up money line.
Because what is it's pretty close, right?
It's a minus 185 for Nascimento, plus 154 for Mays.
Yeah, just take that because if they get tired and go to a decision, you're gonna be so pissed.
Oh yeah, you're gonna be sitting there
just for what it would be probably like maybe plus 150 KO tag.
Right. Yeah, if there's something real sweet for a KO, I mean I don't know, but I don't know. This for some reason I'm getting the feeling this might be one of those boring heavyweight fights. So just take the money line on that one.
Yeah.
Co-main event, welterweight bout between Gabriel Bonfim and Nicholas Dalby. We're big Bonfim fans here. I think you picked him within the distance. And I agree with you there. Obviously, Bonfim undefeated, and I don't think Nicholas Dalby is going to be the one to take his O. What kind of finish are you thinking here?
I really think like there's KO possibilities, but here's the problem. Like this is why I picked him in the distance because I don't just want to go with sub just in case like he does clip him really too hard in the beginning.
Because Bonfim's one of those guys that is like he can finish you either way.
Oh, yeah, Dalby loses fights until he wins. Right. So
right.
That's Bonfim's gonna come out the gate. I mean, it's gonna look like death's door for Dalby.
Yeah.
Unless Bonfim messes up, Dalby's not gonna win, but there's still the chance of.
It's one of those things where it's like these English fighters, whether they're boxers, whether they're MMA guys, they can take a beating. Yeah. So, like Alexis said, like depending on what strike hits Dalby coming out the gate, he could take a beating till he gets submitted, or he might just get clipped with something a little too clean and get KO'd. So I think the inside the distance is just right. Bonfim for sure. I mean, he's a minus 600. He's the biggest favorite on the card, so there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. Like, maybe second round finish. But if it goes anywhere past, like, if Bonfim goes past, like, maybe it goes halfway past the second round, then I really start sweating because Dalby does take over.
Right.
on, you know.
Bonfim needs, if he's gonna get a finish, it's got to be within two and a half, you know, or I mean not 2.5 and 1.5.
Yeah.
All right, main event, second only to Bonfim as the biggest favorite on the card. Jailton Almeida is a -485 favorite against a 370 dog and Derek Lewis. How can you pass up on a Derek Lewis money line and KO bet on this one?
Yeah. Honestly, like, well, I'm gonna look up to see how much the KO line is, because the money line is good, but if that's Derek Lewis's only way to win.
Yeah, it's his only way to win, and it's probably how he might win, because Jailton Almeida has been shot out of a cannon in his UFC career, and he is on the rise quick. He is one of these heavyweights who's pretty bodied up, so the UFC loves to get a nice. We talked most of this show about Francis Ngannou. They like a guy with a nice body in that heavyweight division. It's fun for us, but not as fun for them to have a big old fat guy beating everybody's ass. And Derek Lewis might have taken that to heart, because he's been thinning up lately. But I mean, these guys are both 6'3". You got Derek Lewis, who weighs in at the heavyweight limit. Almeida weighs in about 231. Both coming off wins. Derek Lewis, obviously a seasoned veteran, has knocked out more difficult opponents than Jailton Almeida. Derek Lewis is hard to knock out, and that's what Almeida does too. I mean, this is going to be a real shot out the gate barn burner, right? Real quick, and it might be over real quick, depending on what happens.
So currently right now, Derek Lewis is swelled to a 525 dog.
Really?
Yeah, dude.
You got to take this, people. You got to take this. The Black Beast.
You have to take it.
You can't put Derek Lewis as that big of a dog against anybody except maybe fucking John Jones or some shit, because just the fact that he has that one shot power doesn't have to be a big wind up haymaker. It can be a fucking jab and he can knock you out with it. Good God.
I would say like if you're like really scared about it, like, yeah, of course, like you have the potential to lose that bet, but it's beat Curtis Blades.
Jailton,
Curtis Blades was going in for a takedown. He just
that's what I'm saying. It doesn't have to be a big shot from Derek Lewis. Like, there's guys out there with knockout power, but they gotta hit you with a big, clean shot. Francis Ngannou, right? We talked about him half this goddamn show, and his entire highlight reel package is the perfect uppercut on Alistair Overeem. You know what I mean? It's the perfect heavy power uppercut. Francis Ngannou doesn't have a fucking tick, looks like he just grazed your face and you go to sleep. Derek Lewis has those kind of knockouts where it looks like he barely hit somebody and they go to sleep. And Jailton Almeida has so much hype behind him. His fights have been over quick. He's going to come out there thinking he's going to annihilate this fat guy. And it's just a recipe for Almeida to get knocked out by Derek Lewis, and Derek Lewis to kind of stop the hype train, get himself back in the. I mean, obviously he won his last fight, so it's not like anybody's forgetting about Derek Lewis, but he's obviously kind of turned over a new leaf in his career, and he's not ready to stop it yet. You know what I mean? And if Derek Lewis knows if he goes out there and gets finished by a guy like Jailton Almeida, he's going to the back of the line again, you know, and I just see this being a real quick scramble. First round, just come out, boom, somebody's going to sleep. You know what I mean? And I don't think it's Derek Lewis. I think Jailton Almeida get put to sleep quick.
Jailton's gonna get slept.
He may run into a punch. Jailton's one of those guys who does real quick, fast movements. He might run at a motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like, he comes out real aggressive. And when you come out real aggressive against Derek Lewis, he's so calm and poised. He could just clip you with one of those going backwards, kind of a little going backwards, little hook, dinky dunk right on your chin. And if you're running at him, he's got the power if you're standing still. And if you're running at him or pressuring him, you're giving him some more power. I don't know. That's going to be an exciting one. It's going to be an entire card of probably close fights, and then the main event's going to last about 35 seconds. But
yeah, you know, like, here's the thing, like, if he gets Derek Lewis on the ground, Derek Lewis is just going to stand up.
Yeah.
Like, he's one of the only fighters, like, he gets you on the ground, you get on the ground.
Oh yeah, especially if it's in the first round. You know, first round, like you put him at altitude against another big fat guy who's gonna lay on him. Yeah, he's had his share of boring decisions when both guys are just gassed out. But it's like in any normal matchup, Derek Lewis, he just stands up. He don't even have to have wrestling. He'll just get to one knee, get to the other knee, and then just stand up. You know what I mean? So, and again, he's new body Derek, dude. He's out there running marathons with Nick Diaz and shit, and I doesn't really.
You know what he is doing though? He's getting ready for that boxing match with Francis.
Riyadh season. It's Riyadh season.
He's about to get that bag.
I hope he does. Of all people, dude. Like give Derek.
Imagine?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so everyone's talking about, like, we'll go back a little bit, but like everyone's talking about, like, Dana missed out. And Dana did not miss out. He's still putting on events. Like, this is like nothing.
The UFC is it's the NFL. Like, Riyadh season isn't a thing. It's just a guy with a shitload of money who can pay whoever he wants as much money as they want to put whatever spectacle on he wants to put. That's not a league. That's not a professional sporting league. People saying that Dana missed out because Ngannou, he didn't re-sign Ngannou. It's like, no, he didn't miss out. Like, because it's MMA. We talk about it all the time. Boxing is boxing. You're able to just hang in there. And you don't have to worry about being taken down or kicked or anything like that. Although Tyson Fury did land an elbow, which was the coolest highlight of that whole boxing match. He threw it.
Yeah, I mean,
it was an accidental elbow, obviously. But Francis in the UFC right now. Francis would have lost 2 fights already in the UFC. Yeah, if he'd have been in there.
Do you know? I don't understand. Did you see when Francis uppercutted himself in that fight?
No.
You didn't see it?
No, I didn't.
Dude, it was so bad. It was in one of the first clinches. Like, the first punch he threw, he hit himself.
Oh, man, that's hilarious. I got to go look that up now. But
yeah, no one's talking about it. He uppercutted himself.
I'm all about. I didn't even think about Derek Lewis fighting Francis in Saudi Arabia. Derek, win some fights, fight out your contract, and sign that fucking sign me up for that one.
No, you know what? I think Dana White will give him the go ahead to do it.
I mean, if Lewis keeps winning, on this new and improved version of his career, and that becomes a possible opportunity, and with all the bad publicity people have been throwing towards Dana about letting Francis go, and then Francis, betting on himself and blah 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 blah, I could see Dana saying, you know what? I'll let the Black Beast go over there and knock him out and ruin their whole fucking party, like. But all right, that's been a show. Thank you, Alexis.
Yeah.
We got UFC back. We'll be watching. We'll be betting. If you're watching this right now, go check the Bungalow Sports Show and Peak One Sports on social media, and we'll have our picks up there. And remember to follow along with our picks, motherfuckers, because we're 67%, and that's pretty crazy. That's pretty crazy.
I need to figure out what I'm gonna do, because the goal is to go above or 70 plus.
That would be insane. So, if we can get this thing above 70 plus, I mean, we got to start charging. No, it is. If we could get it there, it just means we should be winning more money than we actually are, because you get some picks right, and then other ones you lose money on hedges because you don't trust yourself so much, and then you lose money on hedges. But anyways, all right, everybody, thank you for tuning in. Support all our sponsors, support the people that support us, and enjoy the fight.